Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Celine, and I'm going to talk about the different results of yogurt depending on the different times used to ferment it. So, what is yogurt? Yogurt is a food produced by bacterial fermentation of milk. The fermentations of sugar in the milk by these bacteria produce lactic acid, which acts on the milk's protein to give yogurt its texture as well as its characteristic tart flavor. Cow's milk is most commonly used to make yogurt, but milk from water buffalo, goats, ewes, mares, camels, and yaks are also used to produce it. Milks used may be homogenized or not, as well as pasteurized or raw. Each type of milk produces substantially different results. Next, what is the process used to make yogurt? The procedure used to make yogurt is called fermentation, which is a type of anaerobic metabolism which harnesses the redox potential of the reactants to make adenosine triphosphate, or ATP for short, and organic end products. Organic molecules such as glucose or other products are catabolized and their electrons are transferred into other organic molecules, such as cofactors, coenzymes, and other ones. Anaerobic glycolysis is a related term used to describe such occurrences of fermentation in organisms, usually in multicellular organisms such as animals, when aerobic respirations cannot keep up with the ATP demand due to insufficient oxygen supply or anaerobic conditions. This research starts off with measuring the amount of milk going to be used to make the yogurt, which was 500 milliliters. The milk is later poured into a pot and then heated until small bubbles can be seen. The stove was then turned off so that the milk can cool down before the yogurt seed was added in. About 4 tablespoons of heated milk was added together with 1.5 tablespoons of seed yogurt, which is diluted inside of the milk that's inside the bowl. After no clumps were visible, the seed was poured into the milk and then mixed in a clockwise direction. Once the mixing was done, the milk was transferred into a sterilized glass container, which later was sealed with the lid and then covered with a shawl. The fermentation of the yogurt starts at 4:19 p.m. and then later there are 3 checkpoints: after 4 hours of fermentation, after 12 to 13 hours, as well as after 24 hours. The result of the 4-hour fermentation at 8:19 p.m. was very minimal. This can be said because of how liquidy the texture of the yogurt was at that state because the bacteria haven't grown yet. Because of the current state of the yogurt, the taste was not examined for health safety. And then, checking at around 6 in the morning, the yogurt's texture had changed significantly. The Lactobacillus bulgarius as well as Lactobacillus acidophilus, which are the organisms used in this experiment, has more time to grow, eventually leading to clumping the milk into smaller groups, which is enough to make it creamy. It had also released lactic acid into the yogurt, which is why the yogurt's taste was sour. Lastly, at 3:05 in the evening, after it was chilled in the fridge because I was unable to examine it at or before 4 p.m. in order to stop the fermentation, there was a change in the consistency as well as a surprising change in the taste. The yogurt has become thicker with the additional 12 hours of fermentation, and to my surprise, the yogurt has become less sour. After some research, I found out that there are 3 possibilities for this anomaly. The first one was because cooling the yogurt in the fridge had made the sour taste duller, while the second possibility was because of the fermentation itself. When I was checking the 13 hours fermented yogurt, it was still warm and in the process of fermentation, so the bacteria were still actively producing lactic acid. Meanwhile, when I was checking the 24-hour fermented yogurt, it had already had time to chill in the fridge for about an hour, which was enough time to stop the bacteria from further fermenting the yogurt. The last possible reason was because the bacteria had run out of lactose to further ferment it, and this caused them to not produce any more lactic acid. Following the results of this experiment, it can be concluded that the length of the fermentation influences how much the yogurt clumps as well as its taste and smell. The longer you let the yogurt ferment, the thicker the consistency becomes, and the taste becomes more sour and more lactic acids gets produced. But it is possible that even after a longer fermentation time, the taste doesn't change. An important reminder is that the maximum time of fermentation to be used for making yogurt is 24 hours. For further fermentation, then that may be risky due to possible bad bacteria growing in the yogurt. That is everything I have to say for this video. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a very lovely day.